We're going to be looking at two services in Azure today. We're going to be looking at Azure Traffic Manager and Azure Front Door Service, kind of comparing those and reading about them, and probably set up just a test instance of it. Our goal we're trying to kind of solve is we're going to look for how to route our traffic and we're always available. So if we have Azure go down in one data center, we can fail over to our other instance. We're probably going to spin up two app services, probably just the standard .NET Web API, and deploy those as app services up to the cloud. Maybe throw a Azure SQL instance up there with a active and standby database, and then kind of go from there and compare the instances and see what I'm going to use for future projects. It's a pretty quick decision here. What I did not know was that Application Gateway came out with zone redundancy in their V2, which was, I guess, general availability last month in April. So if I'm looking for just zone redundancy in the United States, then I could probably get away with that pretty easily and be fine. I am looking for global redundancy, so it looks like if I don't care about HTTPS or SSL offload, then I would use Traffic Manager. Otherwise, I should be using Azure Front Door Service. That's what I read online through their docs. So I think I'm going to go with a Traffic Manager and kind of set that up and show setting that up with two simple web apps. I'll probably run through their quick start, and I'll show myself running through that. Alright, so here we are in the Azure portal. What we're going to do is we're going to run through their quick start for creating a redundant app service. We're just going to use their default app and two app services in two locations and two different resource groups. So let's go ahead and create a resource, and we're going to create a simple web app. Not that. We're going to create a simple web app. We're going on a free trial I have. We're going to use just name convention. So what I like to do is see what Microsoft recommends. And let's see. They say it should be the service name, environment, and -rg. All right, let's do that. So it's going to be, since this is going to be app service, we'll call it central, since it's kind of what we're displaying here. And this will be just dev, I guess. Or it's never going to be deployed. Let's go ahead and create that. We'll call this my central app. Let's let it do .NET Core 2.2, Linux. We'll keep it in the central. We'll go ahead and do a standard. Let's just do basic one. Don't do free. I don't think free will work with. Yeah, I don't think free will work because of the whole binding of it with the endpoints. So make sure you pick a basic one. Let's go to monitoring. I don't want application insights for this app because, I mean, it's going to be deleted here in 30 minutes. All right, that looks good. Let's create that. All right, while that's being created, let's create another web app. Let's do a new resource group again. We'll call it call the other one? Okay, we'll call app service east. And we'll call it dev dash resource group. Call this my east app. Run it in 2.2, Linux again. Put this in the east. You don't need premium. Let's go to basic. No monitoring. Let's go ahead and create it. So now, while that's being created, let's go ahead and create a traffic manager profile. So we're saying go search for it. We're going to call this my AWL test. We'll go for, let's see, what do we want to go for? Let's go for priority, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense because we want to do failover, so we'd have active and standby. We're going to create a new resource group. We're going to call this one a global one. It's going to be shared by multiple apps. And this resource group location, all that's doing is it's kind of just working on where it's going to store the metadata for it. So even if the central region went down, the traffic manager still should work. And here's kind of what we're going for in this simple, very simple demo. We have our traffic manager up here. It routes traffic to the primary of central. Let's say for some reason this one goes down, then we want to go to the standby. Pretty simple thing. It just gives you more availability. So after that's deployed, let's go test to make sure that all of our stuff is created. Alright, so let's look at our central one. And just see the standard site. Alright, while that's loading, let's go ahead and go to our east one. Alright, let's spin up. And while that's happening, let's go ahead and start setting up our endpoints. So if we go into our profile, we're using Azure endpoint. We'll call this one's primary. This is a app service. Central is my primary. We're going to give it a priority of 1 because that's the highest priority. Let's go ahead and create a second one. Call it standby. Once again, it's app service. East. Priority of 2. Alright, now here's our sample apps. It just shows you pretty basic stuff. So once the traffic manager is done, we should be able to go to this URL and see a 404. Alright, so I had to go back and create standard app services because the basic tier traffic manager didn't support that. So here we are, we have a primary and standby. If we look at the endpoints, they look exactly the same before. Primary points to an app service, central, and standby points to an app service in the east. Let's go back to our traffic manager profile. Let's test it. So we get here, just like we expect, we get the standard web app page. So let's go ahead and go back and test the failover. Let's go to endpoints and let's disable our primary. Alright, so that's saving changes. Let's give it a little bit to make sure, and let's actually go check our app services real quick. Actually, if we go back, you can see this is disabled in primary. So let's go look at our app services and let's look at the central. As you can see, we were getting traffic in, data out. at the time of the first time we were testing it. Test east. As you can see, you can't really see it, but that's when we were testing it earlier. So now let's go ahead and go back to our app service and refresh it a few times. You can see it's still working. The failover is working as expected. And what we'll see is it start to pop up again because it was starting to get requests. Yep, as you can see, it was getting requests. And this was not. As you can see, it dropped off, which means our failover. Alright, so there we have it. We have a Traffic Manager to test app that was just 2 app services. It was a little rough because I was trying to select a free tier of Linux and I didn't read the documentation all the way through, and that wasn't supported because it didn't have custom domains. So a simple one was just use the standard or premium like we would in production. So that won't be a problem when we go to production with that. I did not set the databases yet. I'll probably do that in another video. Probably make it a little bit smaller because I'm going to set up probably Elastic or manage Azure SQL, and then go with active and standby database and talk about the benefits of that and kind of how that handles consistency and things like that. Kind of goal for the next couple weeks is to make sure that I completely understand all the redundancy. It's a thing we usually had in place, the place has already been, but I want to make sure that I can set it up from scratch fairly quickly. Yeah, thanks for watching.